accent, but he's got tons of awesome interviews on YouTube and stuff. He's apparently this big hit. People love him.
Okay, more Metroid Prime. Maybe we'll focus on the game a little bit. We got our T. Just got the X-ray infrared goggle things, visor, and got out of the science lab.
Yeah, are you still on the same planet?
You don't leave this planet for the rest of the game.
Yeah. Good design choice.
Well, you crash landed here, remember?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you don't leave this planet.
And we followed Meta Ridley here, and we're slowly unlocking the secrets of this ancient civilization that was here.
Cool.
Yeah. I end up scanning a lot more as the game goes on.
Yeah, because that's the
only way you're gonna find the story, and
that's what they clearly want you to do.
Yeah. So I ended up doing that, going back to areas and scanning more, but you do so much backtracking, it didn't there's no hurt to it. So this thing drove me insane trying to figure this sucker out.
So you're wondering what you're supposed to shoot at it?
Yeah. So as you progress through the game, that's the whole point of scanning, is you scan these things and you test it out, and cordite will only be blown up by a super missile. Some other materials will only be blown up by this. So there are ways that you discover things can only be accessed through different weapons. Which as you progress, you end up finding these weapons, and you have to go back because but you also have to remember where all these things are.
Crazy, yeah. That's the annoying part about these games, is you got to actually keep mental track of where every single.
Well, I actually have a notebook over there. I was writing down.
Oh, okay. So that's one way to do it. I
was like, oh, okay. This was here. This was here. This was here.
Otherwise, you're just gonna miss it. You'll just forget it even existed, and then you'll spend 3 hours wondering where you're supposed to go.
Well, when I played Earthbound on my own time, I actually was doing that. I was making notes and drawing little maps.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Earthbound's not made that way. So this is a boss fight.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it going to be a social justice warrior?
No. So you wanted to talk about something as... Well, this boss fight's actually really cool.
Okay.
Yeah. But
is it a giant pile of rocks?
So as a geologist, yes it is.
Okay.
So I was actually pretty excited for this one. But it's not my favorite boss fight in the game.
So because it's not made out of super thin glass, it must not be a social justice warrior. Super thin, easily destructible glass.
Yeah. So the good thing about this is, because it's got that kind of Zelda thing where every time you get a new weapon, that's your primary way of figuring out how to defeat the boss.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty cool looking boss. Big pile of rocks.
Yeah, he's a big pile of rocks that,
And the thing is,
when you scan it, it pretty much tells you how to defeat him.
Charged with phazon radiation.
Negates auto fire,
preventing
lock on. So
so you gotta use your special visor.
So you gotta use your new visor to find its shit. But be careful, because it'll knock you out. See, there it is right away. Yeah.
And so you're going to blow up each little piece of rock one at a time.
Pretty much, yeah.
Sweet.
Yep. So, what did you want to talk about as this boss fight goes on?
So, because because the theme of this video series is complaining about social justice warriors.
Well, we were complaining about women, so.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's because it's Samus, right? And so, because it's Samus, we just Well,
Samus is a badass. I just finished Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex 2, and the main character in that is a woman, and she's awesome. So, two awesome women. The first one I recommend. The second one is very over... I don't know. I feel it's overrated as a series. It's basically what I'm saying is it's the worst Ghost in the Shell I've seen. So, between the movies, Standalone Complex 1, and then the new one, the newer one, where it shows the Major young. That's everything's better than this one.
You're about to die.
Yeah. No, I still got 6 pegs of health left.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So
I got to watch Ghost in the Shell again. I haven't seen it.
I have the DVD set of the first one. If you want to borrow it.
You know what? I could just download it though. It's so easy.
No, don't pirate.
Why
Don't
not?
be a pirate.
Well, borrowing from you and downloading it myself are not exactly like. It's about the same net. Game,
Alright. Well, before you go to Africa, you can borrow a bunch of anime I have that I recommend.
Yay!
How about that?
Okay.
I'll fill up a hard drive with all that stuff.
Yay!
Then you can email me your thoughts, and I can say it through future videos.
Okay.
All right. So what did you want to talk about? God damn it, we keep getting off track.
Just by chance, I think I got it through Reddit because there's this one. I found this journalist slash speaker because I guess most speakers start off as journalists or academics in some way, especially the really well spoken ones are journalists, which makes me really sad that I never became a journalist because I think it would have worked well for me. But anyways, there's this guy who he's like they call him a unicorn because he shouldn't exist. He is a gay Catholic.
Okay.
Who is a tech writer for Breitbart.
What's that? What's
technology?
Breitbart?
Oh, Breitbart is it's a publication. It's like basically an online. It's a really big online publication.
Okay.
Breitbart.com. The guy's Andrew Breitbart is the guy who started it. A lot of people.
Okay, so gay Catholic for a tech company, and he's a writer for it.
And he's a huge neocon Donald Trump supporter.
What?
Who hates other gay people?
So he's a self-hater?
No. He loves himself, but he hates being gay.
Oh.
Kind of. He's like he does hate it, but then he also doesn't. Yeah. He's very like he's got a lot of funny things to say. So his name's Milo Yiannopoulos, and he's Greek Brit. So basically, his parents are Greek, and he grew up in Britain.
Okay.
And he is the gay as can be. He's like super bitchy, and like he's got all the fabulous like flamer shit. But then at the same time, he's taking this like super gay personality and using it to like promote Donald Trump values, and like against Islam and against like
First of all, I've actually never met a gay person that's super bitchy like that, even though it's kind of a stereotype.
Yeah, well, he's a total stereotype. Internet.
So what you're saying is he's stereotyped.
Oh,
he's a living stereotype. He's a living stereotype.
In his personality, but then in his like political,
it's like meeting a
views.
white. It's like meeting a white guy in the South that grew up and all he eats is burgers and macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, and
which I've met, by the way.
And he is just vicious towards feminists. He's also a bit like unrefined in that he's quite willing to say just ridiculous things about them, but he does have some very like strong arguments, and he's very well spoken. And he'll just like and he'll wreck them. Like he'll go on he'll say all the things about feminists that other people are like just straight up too afraid to say because for political reasons, right? But he's like, I'm gay. I don't care if women don't like me. I don't need them for anything,
I mean, that's a good point, but
he's like, and it surprises people because they're like, they realize that there's no actual political power that they have over me. So it's like. So he has the carte blanche, and so but at the same time I feel it's like okay you can't go that far, buddy. Like you still have to like this is your reputation on the line, even if you're not worried about like for example your sexual life or anything like that.
Okay.
Your romantic this is your public image. Like you're supposed to be a public intellectual at this point. Like you're being sought out for your opinions, and so you gotta be a little bit you gotta have discretion in that way.
Okay. So I got this boss down to like half health, and he made everything like foggy and icy.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, so now you like can't see. So that's a really I can see why you call him a unicorn. He is a one of a million kind of person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what he's doing now is he's doing a giant university tour with Steven Crowder, who is a complete fucking waste of time.
Why does that guy sound familiar?
He's one of those YouTuber guys who's got like a YouTube talk show. It's just conservative bullshit. He's a French Canadian guy, which already means it's a waste of time. But it's just a big pile of conservative bullshit. So he's not worth paying attention to. But he's like more of a comedian than anything.
Okay.
So he's Steven Crowder, but then also Christina Hoff Sommers. Christina Hoff Sommers is she has something called the Factual Feminist, where she was very strong in the feminist movement, like specifically second wave in the 60s, 70s, that kind of thing. And but with the third wave feminism, where it's basically like fucking children, she has nothing but horrible, or she has nothing good to say about these people. where they're saying that they're exploiting the gap myth, the myth that there's a wage gap between men and women, and exploiting stuff like rape statistics.
You think that's a myth?
It's large. It's definitely not 77%. It is far from 77%. I've seen studies that say if you actually take factors into account, it's actually about 97%, which makes sense because here's how they get the wage gap thing. The 77% number, they get it by taking it's through income taxes. All women report a certain number of income tax.
Okay.
And then all men report a certain number of income for their income taxes.
Right.
Turns out that all the women in the country reported 77% of all the men. So they made 77% of what the men made.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It does not take into account hours, jobs. It doesn't take into account education or anything like that.
So
right?
so it's basic statistic manipulation to making it what you want.
Exactly.
Okay. So it's like I mean it's similar to what I would compare when I say women don't study engineering.
Exactly.
There are a lot more men engineers than women engineers, but if you actually look at men and women engineers who get hired, they make essentially the same.
Yeah, and so
it all depends on then experience.
And then they're angry that, like, for example, early childhood education doesn't pay as well as, for example, geological engineering. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing to be complaining about. Like, maybe they should be paid as much. I don't know. Or maybe they should be getting paid a little bit more. But at the same time, you can't turn that around and say, well, men just get paid more because they're men. It's not because they're men. It's because they're for one thing, it's because a lot of women end up leaving the workforce or declining like certain types of like work because they want to start families, right?
Yeah. I remember reading something that there's very few countries developed countries that have a wage gap. I believe Japan was one of them. Because
it's pretty atrocious.
It's pretty bad because they're afraid that they are going to leave the workforce and they don't want to hire them because they assume that they are going to leave.
Well, that's not a wage gap. That's just like gender roles. That's like we're not even going to hire you. Wage gap is like if you're getting paid.
But it still is. If they do hire them, they will only hire them for a lot less. Because of that.
Okay.
Yeah. So the gender plays into an account of the eventual gender wage gap.
I definitely know that Japan has pretty atrocious hiring policies. I don't know if it's like because there were a lot of Japanese teachers that were both like Japanese male teachers and Japanese female teachers at all levels of school.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a difference in their pay. I assume it's there. I would assume that there isn't a difference in that. But at the same time, there are a lot of positions where it's like these are women's positions, these are males positions. You just don't hire a male to do this job.
Well, Japan's very old school in that sense.
Yeah, exactly.
And it takes them.
They're super conservative.
Yeah.
Korea was the same way actually, but.
Yeah. But in the sense of Canada and the States.
Yeah,
I've often wondered about that because I'm like, is there really a wage gap?
Well, the only actual.
And now that you mention it, it's like, well, I don't know if it's as bad as they say it is. Maybe back in the 50s it was like that.
Yeah, well, they're definitely fudging the numbers. And the way to really destroy this argument is like, okay, so imagine you're running a company and you discover that you can actually cut your entire your salary budget down to like 77% just by firing all the men and rehiring them as women. Would you not immediately do that, right? If they're apparently doing the exact same jobs for 77%
for less money, that would be feasible,
not
right?
just like do that? So that's one of the things that kind of like violates our common sense. But there is a wage gap, and actually, it's heavily in females' favors. Any study I've seen that actually goes to people from this generation, meaning up until the age of 35, specifically 20 to 35, shows, especially in urban areas, particularly in urban areas, females make considerably more than men do. And that should not be a surprise to anybody who lives in an urban area in a Western country.
Huh.
Like, it really should not be a surprise.
Where can I find this information? Just Google?
Well, I mean, I've seen stuff in The Guardian, which is a British... Like, it's mostly focused on British statistics.
I know The Guardian.
Yeah, it's mostly focused on British statistics. And I posted it on stuff like Facebook, and of course, everybody starts giving me shit for it, saying, like, there's no way that's true. Well, actually, it is true, and you should know that that's true. There have been many points when I was in my 20s where I just looked at all my friends. I was like, gee, all my fucking women friends are making a fuck ton. All the male friends are fucking, like, living like fucking paupers. They can't find work, can't get anything done.
What was that word?
Paupers.
Paupers?
Yeah, pauper.
What's a pauper?
Oh my god, a pauper? P-A-U-P-E-R?
I have no idea.
Okay, you'll look it up during the break. After the video's over. It's basically, it's a very poor, it's almost like a Charles Dickens word. Very poor person.
Okay. I've never heard of this.
Basically, like, all my female friends had, like, awesome jobs. All my male friends had, like, basically fuck all. And it wasn't for lack of trying, I'll put it that way. But, for whatever reason, and like, there's a pile of reasons for why females get those kind of advantages. I'm not going to go into them right now, but
Okay.
those advantages do exist. Females make a lot more money in their 20s and early 30s. And then they stop making so much money because they actually end up starting families and leaving the workforce. And started investing their efforts into their family lives.
That doesn't shock me. And
It-
I just
it
beat
really
the boss.
shouldn't.
Did
Good.
that not take forever?
It was a bit of a, yeah, it's
Okay, so
a bit of a
so
bullet sponge.
my job later is to look up
Popper?
Popper and then to find all these facts in the Guardian.
Yeah, you can look up, like, you know what? Let's just even wait to see more newspaper, because there's going to be more studies. It's going to become more and more clear that, like, the narrative does not actually match the facts.
Yeah.
So let's make sure we're watching for these, like, newspaper articles to come out.
Okay. Well, because I beat this boss, I get a new upgrade.
Yay! You get to have a giant ball with green rims.
Spider Ball. So
Oh.
we'll do this next time.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a good episode. I like that.